What's up guys, it's Hassan Malik back here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new 2018 Hulkbuster Ultron Edition from Lego Marvel Superheroes. I know I don't usually do reviews like this, but I just thought the set was really awesome and I want to share my opinion with you guys about this set. So without further ado, let's get right into it, starting with the box here. Overall, it's a really large box. It's way larger than the actual set. The actual set is only about 10 inches tall and stands up to about here. I'm really liking the design on the front of the box, but I do think the picture looks a little bit strange. The proportions of the Hulkbuster at this angle just look a little bit weird. Like the legs look really small compared to the torso, which I think is kind of weird. I don't know why they took the picture at this angle, but trust me, in person it looks a lot different. And you guys will see that in just a second. Getting some of the details out of the way here, it is recommended for ages 14 and up. It includes 1,363 pieces, and it retails for $120 US. So a really good price point there as well. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the back of the box here. I'll just flip it around for you guys. Yeah, there's nothing really special going on here, just a different angle of the Hulkbuster. You get to see a couple of the features, as you can see the jackhammer arm right there, and the mechanical arms moving stuff around. But yeah, overall it's a really nice box. It's extremely large, which is nice, I guess. It's just a little bit larger than the set actually is. But yeah, guys, now let's get into a time-lapse build of the set, and I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. So guys, here's the completed set in all of its glory. Now this set has a lot of smaller parts like mini builds as the Hot Rod, Veronica, and minifigures, and the entire stand is a separate build as well. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that right now. So guys, now let's take a look at the Hulkbuster itself. For the dimensions of this set, it stands at about 10.43 inches tall, which is said on the box. I didn't actually measure this figure or anything, I'm just going off what the box said. Overall, for the design of this set here, there's a lot of red and gold parts, as you guys can see, which I'm really liking. It is an Ironman suit, so obviously we're going to get red and gold parts with this set. But I do think they were really generous with the amount of gold here, and it really just accents and gives a lot of depth and extra detail to the figure, which I think was really awesome. There are a lot of flaws with this set as well, mainly in articulation. but we'll get to that in just a second. One of the other flaws that I have with this set is friction in parts. I don't know if this is just my batch of this set that had this, but I do find that a lot of the friction with some of the pieces just aren't really that great. So as you guys can see, as I'm trying to move this Hulkbuster back, it keeps wanting to move forward, and that's because the ankle joints right here, which are ball joints, just don't have enough friction in them for them to stay back at this spot. They just kind of want to move forward, which is a little bit unfortunate. I do have my own ball joints in my own collection that I can try and modify this set with and give it a little bit of extra friction, but I think that's a little bit unfortunate. I mean, people shouldn't really have to do that considering they paid such a large premium price for this set. One area that I do think also needs a little bit more friction is kind of in the waist. This is a little bit nitpicky just on my side. It's just, I think I would have liked to see this be a little bit more ratcheted so you can have it stay in some poses a little bit easier. Sometimes if you have it posed in the right way, you'll just want to swing back and forth. But yeah, it's quite loose. As you guys can see, I'm just kind of rotating it around here like so. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing this set or anything. I'm just going to be going through a lot of the flaws that I found with this set because there are a lot of them present here. But I will get to the good sides as well. Another one of the flaws here is the chest of the build, so I'm just going to move it to a side angle here, and the problem with it kind of is just that it's extremely flat. Like, it's just the chest doesn't come out as much as it really needs to on the actual Hulkbuster. I'll show you guys an image of the actual Hulkbuster so you guys get an actual comparison version of it. But yeah, this chest just it doesn't come out as much as it needs to, and I think this abdominal area, it just comes out too far. I would have liked to see this be a little bit more inset and the chest come out a little bit more to make it look more bulky and more kind of muscular almost. I think that would have made this figure look, or not this figure, this build look a lot better. Another problem with the proportion here are these shoulders, which are just completely wrong. I remember when I first saw the official images of this set, I was just like, what is going on with these shoulders here? Because it looks nothing like the Hulkbuster in the actual film. Now, I can say after having this set, once you move the shoulders into this position right here, it does look a lot more like the Hulkbuster from the movie, but for some reason in all the official images, they kind of pose them like this, and they look like these bands coming around from the back to the front of the Hulkbuster, which I just think is weird. It doesn't actually look like that in the film, but if you do just kind of do like that, it looks a little bit more like it. They're still really wrong. Like, they should be these kind of plates that come up on his entire shoulder. There shouldn't be any gaps right here or anything like that. But yeah, these shoulders are just extremely wrong with this set, but that's okay. Using a couple of custom parts, I'm sure you can build your own shoulders and make it movie accurate yourselves. One great thing about this set is the random use of greebling all over this set. So you use a lot of small parts, a lot of these gold bar pieces right here to give it a bunch of extra detail. So as you can see, gold bars up here on his biceps, kind of right there on his wrists. These bands that come from underneath the arm right there. I'll move his arm up like that. As you guys can see, that looks pretty nice as well. There's just a lot of extra greebling with these Exoforce arms right here. They give it a lot of extra detail. I like the Exoforce arms used on his knees as well. They give it a lot of detail as well. Another great use of small parts for detail are actually in these shoulders as well. These little bar pieces in this clip. I think that's a little small touch, but it does add a lot of extra detail, which I really liked about this set. You do get a big phone right here, which I think looks pretty cool as well. And I'm just going to flip it around to the back of this set because I think the back of this set is honestly better than the front. The back looks really awesome. I think it looks it almost looks kind of ripped, it looks very muscular, like a mechanical type of muscular, which I think it really does need to look like because it is the Hulkbuster and it's supposed to be so big and massive. And I think they really captured that with the back of this build right here. There's a lot more greebling right here with random parts to give it extra detail. As you guys can see, more gold bars in the middle right there. Those bands continue from the front all the way to the back, which is nice to see as well. Another cool piece of some greebling detail is a droid body in his elbow right there, which is pretty nice to see. It's covered up by this flap, which is also pretty cool, but that droid body does give it a lot of cooler, like, mechanical detail and makes it look like it has a lot of functions and parts built inside of it that are kind of exposed, which I think is pretty cool. Looking at the lower portion of this set, these flaps right here are also some really nice touches of extra detail. They kind of hide some thrusters as well, so if you guys move them up, you guys can see the thrusters on the back of his calves right there, which are pretty cool. As you guys can see, there's a pistol right there and right there, which I think was pretty neat. It was a really cool way to use a really old Lego piece, which we don't really get too often nowadays, but I think it was a really nice way to use that brick right there. I think the legs are one of the most well-built part of this set. I don't think they're not very articulated, so that's kind of bad, but just the way they look is very well done. The only problem I have with the legs here is around the ankle area, because I think the ankles just look a little bit too thin compared to what it looks like in the movie. In the movie, they're very thick and they just kind of continue to the feet and kind of have this really nice, thick, solid flow to it. Here, it looks a little bit too human in my opinion. The calves do start off really large right here and then go thinner toward the ankle, which I don't think it should have done. I think it should have stayed thick right here and continued to make it look very bulky and solid like it does in the movie. I really like how they built these knees right here. Although the knees don't move, you can't actually bend them or anything like that. I do think the build for it was pretty cool. It does also have those glow-in-the-dark pieces, which I'll show you guys in a second. And there's also some stickers for detail there as well. And yeah, overall, there's just a lot of detail with this set. I do really like this curved clip piece in the middle of the chest right there. I think that was also a very nice touch. There's a lot of detail, a lot of extra pieces that give it a lot of small details, which I do think add to the model, even though this entire build is extremely restricted. Now, that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are. If you're planning to play with this set, like if you're a small kid that really likes to play with his Lego sets, you're definitely not going to like this, because there's not really much you can move around with this set. Although the fact it is quite big and it does look really cool, it doesn't really move or play that well. But as a collector's item or a display item, I think it does really look really nice. One thing I kind of forgot about the torso as well, I do think it kind of needs to be shorter when you guys see an image of the actual Hulkbuster. The actual Hulkbuster's torso is a lot smaller than this, especially in the abdomen area. It's just a lot smaller than that. But I think that's something that you can do on your own and kind of edit out quite easily just by removing 1 or 2 layers of bricks right there. One thing I do want to point out about this build as well is how it's actually standing. I know I already pointed out how about it doesn't really stand that well and kind of leans forward all the time. But one thing they actually do here is something I've never actually seen before. I don't know if Lego has done this on other sets, but they use these tires right here, which just barely stick out from the bottom of the set. And it just gives a nice amount of grip, which allows it to stick to like tables like this one right here. And it just makes it it gives it a lot of friction there, so it allows it to stand even though it keeps leaning forward, which isn't because of the tires, it's mainly because of the ankles right there. And yeah, overall the design of the set is quite flawed, but I do think it still looks really awesome as a collector's item. And with a few modifications, it can look even better, which I'm probably going to end up doing. So guys, now let's talk about articulation, because this actually is a mech. So with all mechs, we gotta talk about articulation here, and this is one of the biggest flaws of this set. There just isn't really much here in terms of our articulation. Let's start at the bottom here with the ankles. So with the ankles, you can kind of just move them side to side, not really front to back or anything. There's a slight front to back movement, which does cause the model to shift front and back like that. But other than that, there's really no movement in the ankles there. There are no knee joints, which I think I mentioned earlier. The legs are also quite stiff as well. They can go outward like this on both sides here, but they can't go front and back at all, so you can't really put it in a running pose or anything like that, which is extremely unfortunate because that's something that I think a lot of people would have liked to do with this model. I think a lot of people would have liked to actually create fight scenes with the Hulk and everything, and you can't really do that with the limited articulation that you guys get here. The arms, on the other hand, are quite nice. You get a full range of motion here, so you guys can see you can move them up like that, you can twist them around. There's a lot of stuff here. You also get elbow movements in them, so you guys can bend the elbows as well, which is nice to see. The fingers are also quite articulated, which is good. The thumbs also move side to side using that curved clip piece, which is pretty nice as well. Yeah, the arms are nothing too bad here, except for the shoulders, which are extremely inaccurate, which I mentioned earlier. But other than that, they do actually have nice articulation. So I guess that's one good part about the articulation in this set. You also get waist rotation, which I mentioned earlier. I do think it really needs a little bit more friction, but it is nice to have an articulated waist as well. And yeah, unfortunately, that's pretty much going to do it for all the articulation in this set, other than the opening cockpit right there, which I'll get to in a second when we get to the features. There just isn't really any more articulation with this entire build here. That's pretty much it. You're kind of just limited to arm movement, and that's about it with articulation. So guys, now let's go over play features in this set. There aren't really that many, because this is kind of almost like an Ultimate Collector Series set, and because of that, there aren't really many play features included here, which is fine, but let's just go over some of the ones that are included here. So we're going to start with the main one, which is the light up chest brick. I'm going to try and activate it without, as you can see there, yep, it's pretty bright. It's decently bright. I'm sure you guys can see it on camera. The way you're activating that is actually from the back of the figure right here. It's actually really implemented kind of nicely. It uses this two ratcheted joint pieces, and you just kind of press that button, which just slightly pushes in and ends up hitting the back of that light brick, and it lights up the chest for this Hulkbuster here. I think that was a really nice way how they implemented that. I think it looks pretty cool, and it was really sleek. It wasn't really obvious or anything. There wasn't like a big red button on the back of the build here, which I think was pretty cool. Another feature with this set is that you can open up the cockpit right here, or the head of the Hulkbuster, and you can take the Iron Man figure and seat him inside like so. The cockpit itself, oh, I have to move his arms out of the way here. The cockpit itself is also really, it's decently detailed. As you guys can see, there's like those blue, I guess it's supposed to be consoles almost. It would have been nice to get some stickers or something for that, but they don't really have any. But yeah, you can close it like that, and that's one of the features as well. And another one of the features is the glow-in-the-dark pieces, so I'll try and show you guys that right now by closing all the lights. So guys, now let's take a look at the glow-in-the-dark pieces here. As you guys can see on his hands, I'll go ahead and open them, or try to open them. My room is extremely dark right now. You guys can see there's 2 on his hands right here and there, and then 1 on his knee. This is the front side of the figure. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the back of it, which has a lot more glow-in-the-dark bricks. You guys can see them right there. They're pretty cool. A bunch on his back, and then a few on this bottom portion of his calves right here, which you can see as well. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for the glow-in-the-dark bricks. And so guys, for our final feature for this set, you do get the jackhammer arm here, and I'll go ahead and swap that out right now. Alright guys, so here's the jackhammer arm. It's really nothing special. I do think it looks a little bit incomplete in my opinion. It looks a lot less bulky than the regular arms, which I don't really like. I'm not really a fan of this jackhammer arm. I think the fingers also look a little bit strange. It does actually function here though, so if you guys go ahead and just push this little piece out, it'll recreate that punching motion, which was quite a funny scene in the movie Age of Ultron, which is pretty cool. I guess it's nice they added that. It doesn't really move too far out when you press that, but it does move enough, I guess, to actually reenact the jackhammer arm punching motion. But yeah, that's going to do it for the final feature of this set. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. Okay guys, so here's our first accessory in this set. It's not really an accessory, it's the display stand for the actual Hulkbuster. And this display stand is actually one of the best display stands I've ever seen for like a UCS set before. It's really well built and really well done. I only have a few problems with it. So as you guys can see, there's a little information panel they have there. That's just a sticker that's put on this big tile piece right there. It actually can move up and down like this as well, which is really nice. So if you want to have it flat, you can do that, and then just have it stand up if you want that as well. I like it standing because it's just easier to see that way. The build for it is just really, really well done. It's really solid and sturdy. You do get these mechanical arms right here, which can be moved around. So if you can take out one of them, which I'll try and do here, they're a little bit stiff, but yeah, so you can just take them out and then move them anywhere you want. Looking at these arms themselves, they are pretty nice. They're really well built. They do hold up the arms and other heavier accessories quite easily, which is pretty good. These ball joints have a lot of good friction in them, unlike the ankles of this set, which is pretty nice to see. I'll just leave this on the side right there. There's also this panel right here, which you guys can have a Tony Stark or Iron Man standing on top of. It does have 2 stickers there as well, which are really detailed and are pretty nice as well. Yeah, it's a really nice panel. I guess you can just have Iron Man standing there, I guess, working on the Hulkbuster and whatnot. Yeah, spinning this thing onto its side. There's nothing too special on the side of the build here, just little axle bricks right there to add the arms in as well. And then on the back is probably the weakest point of the set, because you can see some of the interior bricks, which are yellow right there, which is a little bit unfortunate, but to be honest, nobody's going to be really looking at this thing from the back anyways. Let's come back to the front here. One of the flaws that I have with this display stand is actually this section right here. If you press down, it feels a little bit too hollow. I think they should have added a couple of bricks in there to make it feel a little bit more sturdy. But honestly, that's just me nitpicking a little bit. You're not going to be pressing that hard on this thing anyways, so you're not going to feel it. But yeah, overall, it's a really nice stand. It makes for a great display stand for this actual Hulkbuster, and it's one of the best stands that I've seen for an Ultimate Collector Series set. But yeah guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this part of the build. Now let's actually jump over to some of these smaller builds that are included in this set, like Veronica, a fire extinguisher, and the hot rod. Okay guys, so here's our first accessory. This is the fire extinguisher. I don't really know why it's included in this set. It's just a small little build. It's way too large for a minifigure and kind of small for the Hulkbuster, so I don't really know why they included this, but it's just a small build. It does have a sticker right there that says for use on repulsor fires only, which is pretty nice. But yeah, overall just a small mini build, a little bit unnecessary, but again, it's nice to have. Okay, so here's our next little mini build. This is Tony Stark's like signature hot rod. It's a really small build, but I do think it's pretty nice for the scale they went with here. A little bit unnecessary in my opinion. Again, I probably would have preferred getting Dummy. I think you guys remember him, Dummy, that robot that always kind of messed things up in the Iron Man movies. I would have liked to see him in this set instead, because I mean, it's not like this hot rod was seen in Age of Ultron or anything, right? So might as well get like a character, like an actual named character from the MCU. But again, small nice build, nothing really too special. On to the next one here. Okay, and here's the final last accessory that's included in this set. This is like Veronica, the big satellite type of pod that would hover over the Hulkbuster armor and it would fire extra parts. I'm sure if you guys have seen the movie, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's called Veronica, I'm pretty sure. That's what he calls it in the movie. It's a mini build of it here. It looks pretty nice. It comes with a stand as well. It's a pretty nice build. I do like the use of these I don't know what to call these, like these shield pieces right here. They're pretty nice. There's a bunch of stickers on them. These are not printed pieces at all. But overall, it's a nice small build. Also, these open wedged pieces, they seem like they're not actually molded in silver plastic. They actually are painted here, it seems like, which I think was actually a nice touch. They did that with a few other bricks in this set. But yeah, overall, it's just a nice small build. Nice to have, and it does match with this set pretty nicely. Okay guys, here's our only minifigure included in this set, the exclusive version of the Iron Man Mark 43 armor. So guys, this figure isn't really that special. We've kind of already gotten the Mark 43 armor before with the Avengers Age of Ultron sets. This figure is only different in the way that the torso and leg prints have a little bit of extra detail in them. The only thing that's really changed here is that on the top, there's that new gray part, which kind of shows the Iron Man Mark 43 suit kind of interacting with the Iron Man Mark 44 Hulkbuster armor when he's actually inside the suit. I mean, I guess it's kind of nice they included that. There wasn't really much they could do with this figure here, because we've already gotten the Mark 43 suit, but I guess it's nice that we got like an interior version of it. So we got a version of the figure that shows what the suit is like when he's inside the Hulkbuster armor. Overall, it's a really good figure. The prints are really crisp and nice, just like the last version of this figure that we got. Still has the white molds for the eyes and the repulsor there. I kind of was hoping that was blue, but on the last figure it was white, so I guess they're continuing with that here. Let's spin them around and look at the back of the figure. Nice prints as well. I'm pretty sure these are different from the last Iron Man Mark 43 suit as well. I have them on the side here. I'll pull them up and just have a comparison real quick. But before we do that, let's go ahead and open the face mask here for Iron Man. And I'm sure you guys are probably a little bit surprised. This figure actually includes a clear head, which I think was a little bit of a missed opportunity. I would have liked to see an exclusive version of the Tony Stark headpiece with an orange HUD on it, because I think that would have been really awesome, because I'm not sure if you guys know this, but when Tony Stark jumps into the Hulkbuster armor, his entire HUD kind of like zoomed out, and there's like this HUD above his regular HUD, which was the Hulkbuster HUD, and I would have liked to see that on this figure, but I guess Lego just opted to go with a clear head for some reason. I don't know why they really did that. But overall, it's a nice figure. I guess it's nice to have an exclusive version of this figure. I'll pull up the other one so you get a side-by-side comparison. There the two figures are. As you can see, very slight differences between the two figures. Just those slight gray, those extra gray details that were added. I think the backs are the same pretty much. Okay, there's also extra detail on the back of the new exclusive figure as well. But yeah, overall just nothing too special here in terms of figures, but there really wasn't much to add here. This set is not really about the figures at all, but it is nice to get an exclusive version of Iron Man here as well. One thing I did forget to mention is that this figure actually does come with a little display stand as well. Just says Mark 43 on it, no actual information like the Hulkbuster's display stand. But yeah, it's also pretty nice that they included that. And guys, just because I had this set lying around, I thought I'd compare the last version of the Age of Ultron Hulkbuster with the new one here. Obviously, it's completely dwarfed by the new one, and it does look a lot worse, obviously, but it's only made out of like a fraction amount of the pieces. I think this thing was like, 300 something pieces, while the new one is 1,363 pieces. So yeah, just a quick comparison between the two. The height difference here is pretty crazy, but yeah, there's a little comparison with the old Hulkbuster versus the new. And here's the instruction booklet for this set as well. Nothing really too special here. It's kind of a thick booklet though. I don't know how many pages it is. Let's go ahead and see here. I think it's about 180 pages, so that's pretty nice. You get a promotional art for Infinity War. Where is it? Yeah, here you go. The promotional art for Infinity War as well. I can see Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet and a few of the Infinity War sets, which I will be picking up soon as well. Probably going to be doing reviews on them. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, there's your look at the instruction booklet. And guys, here are the extra pieces that are included in this set. Nothing too special, just a few extra nice ones I'd like to point out here. These cheese slopes, which there are a lot of in this set, like I mentioned with the Veronica mini build, these ones are actually painted gold instead of molded gold, so you can see the difference between this cheese slope and this stud. There's two different types of gold right there, which is pretty nice. You get an extra one of those. You also get an extra revolver piece right here, which we don't get too many of nowadays, I don't think. I don't really get too many of these revolver pieces in sets, so that's pretty nice as well. You get a lightsaber hilt. One thing I thought was pretty cool, you get one of these 3 long black bar pieces, which I don't have too many of, so it's pretty nice to get that as well. And you do also get 3 of the glow-in-the-dark bricks, 2 of them which are flat studs, and then 1 regular stud as well. So overall, a nice selection of parts, and you also get a brick separator as well, obviously with this extremely large set. But that's going to do it for the extra parts. So guys, that's pretty much going to do it for my review of the 2018 Lego Ultron Edition Hulkbuster. This set had a lot of good with it, but a lot of bad as well. Just to sum up real quick some of the pros here. It was a great building experience. It has a sturdy design. There's a lot of good uses of glowing parts here with the glow-in-the-dark pieces and the light-up brick as well. The price per piece ratio here is pretty good as well, because it retails for $120 and includes 1,363 pieces. It has a really nice display stand as well, which is pretty nice to see, which we don't get too often with too many Ultimate Collector Series type of sets like this. But then there was a lot of cons with this set as well, starting with the lack of articulation in this set, which is kind of a big flaw with this. It's also kind of unproportionate compared to the actual one in universe in the MCU. The design is quite inaccurate at some points, especially with the shoulders there, which does kind of bug me a lot. And one of the other minor flaws here is I didn't point this out earlier, but all the stickers that you see in this set are actually clear backed, which I kind of don't prefer because sometimes you'll see air bubbles in the actual stickers, which is a little bit unfortunate. And our final problem with this set is that the minifigure is a little bit underwhelming. I would have liked to see a more exclusive version of Tony Stark here with an exclusive HUD. I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. But overall, I do still think this set is quite great. And while I can't just recommend this set to anybody because it is quite expensive, if you are a big fan of the MCU, and more specifically a fan of Iron Man himself, then I definitely recommend picking this set up. I personally am a fan of Iron Man, so I am kind of biased toward this set a little bit, as I kind of already did like it as soon as I saw the images released. But for anybody else thinking of picking this set up that's a little bit iffy, I would probably hold out a little bit and wait for a sale or something. And for my final rating for this set, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it's that fantastic. I don't think it's bad at all either. It's just kind of like an average set. But yeah, guys, those are all pretty much my thoughts about this set. Make sure to go down in the comments below and let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know whether you guys are planning on picking this one up or if you guys own it already. And let me know if you guys agree or disagree with the opinions I express here. If you guys do disagree, that's completely okay. That's what opinions are for. But yeah, guys, if you want to see more reviews just like this one, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. This is something new I'm trying. And yeah, guys, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Lego Marvel superheroes news, make sure to subscribe to my channel because we do tons of videos just like this one. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for me, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.